Okay, welcome and thank you for joining our webinar on viewing the latest features for Sage Intacct. My name is Kim Anselmo and I will be helping facilitate our webinar today. But before we get started, I do have a few tips on using the Zoom platform so you can engage with our presenters and have the best experience possible. So you should see on your Zoom toolbar with icons for ask a question, chat, and raise your hand. You can use the ask a question or chat to submit a question at any time or comment. And if you do need any assistance, click on the raise hand and I will connect with you as soon as I can. We do encourage you to ask questions throughout the entire presentation and we'll do our best to answer them all. But if we don't get to them, just let you know that we will follow up with you personally afterwards. Okay, next slide. And in order to make sure you have great audio, you can access your audio settings and test your audio when you are already in the meeting. At the bottom left-hand corner of the Zoom meeting toolbar, you'll find either the headphone or microphone logo to join audio or mute and unmute respectively. Click join audio to choose to connect your computer audio or dial into a meeting with a phone. Once your audio is connected, click mute to disable the audio or unmute to enable your audio. And also, today's webinar does qualify for CPE credits. So if we can go to the next slide. In order to do that, you do need to respond to all the polling questions that we have. Stay on for the entire duration of the webinar broadcast, as well as answer those questions that we do talk about. So if you have any technical difficulties answering those questions, do send us an email at elevate@armaninollp.com with your name and date of this webinar, along with the session and your poll responses, and we'll be sure that you do get those as well. Next slide. And with that, I am going to hand you over to today's presenter, Michelle Schimberg and Jennifer Jensen, who will take you through the latest and greatest of Sage Intacct.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Michelle Schimberg. I'm a director here at Armanino. I've spent over 30 years of my life in the accounting world. Spent 5 years as a user of Sage Intacct, and then came to Armanino about 5 years ago just to help clients get the most out of their product. I love this product, so I can't wait to teach you more about it. Jenny?
Yep. I am Jenny Jensen. I'm a manager in the consulting mid-market team. I've been working with Intacct now for 3 years, and I love sharing all these new releases with all of you.
All right, today our learning objectives are to identify new release features of your solution, to demonstrate the new user experience and navigation, and manage the latest release of the solution to maximize its potential. Here's our agenda for the day. And for up first, company and administration. Company administration, you can export individual fields in data delivery service. Now you'll need data delivery service, obviously. So, and this allows you to select specific fields to export either manually or automatically. And there's an improved audit trail. They've exposed more fields for your custom report for the audit trail. They've exposed the field before, the field after, and the field name. In accounts payable, there's now a new summary header for vendors. You'll notice here at the top, there's a last build created on and last payment made on. Let's go into the system and look at that for a second. So first, I wanted to show you that, First, I wanted to show you that in the list view, they've added the views as well. Just one moment here. Okay, in the list, this is a release view. I've added my own custom view, and I've added the fields called last bill created on and last bill made on. If I select a vendor called Boston Properties and I view Boston Properties, I can see here I have the new header exposed here. If I look at the audit trail, I changed the address earlier today from 700 Bolston to 1400 Main Street. So now I want to see on a custom report that change. So I built a custom report. If I edit this custom report, I just want to show you those fields. and I go to my columns, you'll see that I have that field after, the field before, and the field name listed. If I run that report, and I run it for today, here's my field name before and after. You'll notice that my access, obviously I didn't have a change. And here's I modified another vendor and it wasn't an auditable change. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I changed the print as, but it does show auditable field before and after, which is pretty exciting. You know, a lot of people have asked for that. All right, first polling question, Kim, please. All right, are you an AP automation early adopter? If so, yes, I love it. Yes, but the jury's out. No, I'm on the wait list, or no, I'm not interested. Oh, and what is AP automation? This is a question of who saw the last release to see if they're getting excited about it.
Okay, we have almost everybody participated. I'll close the poll here in just 3, 2, 1.
All right, what is AP automation? Boy, what if I set that one up well. So coming soon or in early adopter is AP automation. So this is an early adopter program. And what that means is you have to contact your client manager to ask to be involved in the early adopter program. Right now it is full, but I know that the wait list is open, and I believe they might be releasing something soon, bringing in another class of early adopters. But what AP automation is it uses the AI to capture data from your PDF vendor invoice and creates a draft bill. So the idea here is that you would either email or upload an invoice, or a vendor invoice. The system will read it and create a draft bill. It uploads, it automatically attaches the vendor invoice to that bill, and it leverages GL Outlier to report exceptions. So in the case that you upload an invoice that you've already uploaded and is already in the system, it will error out and tell you that this is a duplicate or that you need to review something. Vendor payments powered by CSI. If you saw it in the last release, that became available to everybody. So they continue to improve the offerings on that. And the improvements this release is that the payment withdrawal options are lump sum or per transaction. So they've changed that. You can now upload signatures that are only available for payment services. Your payment provider tab allows you to see the differences between the CSI and the Intacct vendor information. And you can enable the edit of email addresses for CSI notifications. All right, accounts receivable. Ready for it? Oh, first polling question. Next polling question, Kim. How are you currently handling the following up on outstanding AR? We use Sage Intacct Collections. We use a third-party product. We pull an aging and manually follow up, and we never have AR collection issues. You're perfect. Or, geez, you're supposed to collect for AR. And it looks like there's a lot of people who need some help here.
Great. Okay, I'm going to close the poll in just a moment.
All right. So we pull an aging and manually follow up for 70% of you. Well, good news. Intacct has released dunning notices in the system. So dunning notices, you can print or email dunning notices from Sage Intacct to customers based on the number of days overdue or the amount due. The delivery option is print, email, or both. You can attach the invoice to a dunning email. You can track dunning email notices sent on a customer record, and you can set up multiple dunning levels. So let's go see that in the system. All right, so first I wanted to point out to add your Dunning level, you're going to go to accounts receivable, you're going to set up, you're going to Dunning levels. Here you would be able to add a Dunning level, select a name, the current currency, because this is multi-currency, a default printed template. Here I have 2 of them set up in the system, a numbering sequence, which I set up a Dunning numbering sequence. The maximum days out overdue. So let's say I want it for over 15 days and the minimum invoice amount. So I'm not sending Dunning notices to someone who owes 50 cents. So let's edit the one that I did for over $100. So this one's set up for maximum overdue of 1 day and $100. So if I go to accounts receivable, printer email, and Dunning notices, and I add a new one, I'm going to say I want to select the report as of today based on the due date. I'm going to select a Dunning level. So I'll select Dunning level 1. Don't ask why there's duplications. I made a mistake. And I'm going to select the template and I apply filters. Down here, the system will go out, survey my customers, and it found 4 customers that meet that criteria. I'm going to print the one for Armanino Consulting, printer email. You'll see that this is the invoice or the Dunning notice that it is printed. Now, if I email this, it will actually attach my invoice to the Dunning notice. And if I go back over now, I go back to the customer of Armanino and I edit the customer. Excuse me, I could view it also. And I go to Dunning notices. This shows me all of the Dunning notices that I've created for them. And back to our scheduling program here. All right, and receive payment enhancements. You can automatically apply, it automatically applies available credits when you receive a payment. Credits are applied with the waterfall method, and you can create journal entries, adjustments, and advances from the receive payments page. Let me show you where that is. Okay, if I go to accounts receivable and I go to all and I go to receive payments new and I add a new payment over here in more actions, from within here I can create a journal entry, create an advance, or create an adjustment.
Michelle, this would be great for writing off. Like if somebody was a penny short or something compared to their invoice, you can do an entry just to make that adjustment and write off that small amount.
Exactly.
On the screen.
It only gets better. That's what I love about this product.
Mm-hmm.
Not perfect, but I love the fact that they're constantly improving. All right, Jenny, budgeting and planning.
Yes. So go ahead to the next slide. There wasn't a lot of changes for the planning module, but I do want to point out that there's the basic budgeting tool that's in Intacct. So you'll see here listed under basic budgeting and all the functionality that you get with the basic budgeting tool. If you have the planning subscription, then you have the ability to do everything shown on the right side. So this does reduce your budget creation time. It increases the scope and depth of your budget. So it's a great product if you want to add that on for your budgeting.
Next
All right,
slide.
next slide. All right, cash management. Okay, so this was previously rolled out to early adopters, and it's the creation rules. So it'll automate your reconciliation with the matching rules, and based on any entries that come through on your bank feed, you can have it automatically create a journal entry for you to record that, whether that's like a bank fee or a daily deposit that you see often. You can have the system automatically create it for you. You can use the filters in order to target different transactions. So you can use begins with or contains, and this helps also capture dates. So sometimes you'll notice your bank transactions clear maybe 5 days after you record it in Intacct. You can use this filtering option to also capture that. And then if you're using your journal entry approvals, you can have that journal entry be created as a draft. So once that has been approved, it'll post to the GL and that will match the bank transactions for the reconciliation.
That's really cool, Jenny. I'm so excited that we see something in early adopters actually come out and it's released and it's working.
Yes, this will be exciting for everyone. All right, next one. This is really cool too. So now they have the rule set performance log. So you have to create matching rules in order to help make your bank reconciliation more efficient. Now you can actually see how those rules are working for you. So on the rule set, you'll see here, there's this little icon that's added for rule set performance log. And when you click on that, it's going to give you a breakdown of how the matching worked for you. There are additional permissions that are required to be able to utilize this. So make sure that you update any roles that should include this.
That's a great point, Jenny. Oftentimes on these releases, you do something, you look, uh-oh, how come I can't do it? As an example of the Dunning rules, which is what happened when I was demoing it, you have to go give yourself permissions for the Dunning information.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to contact your administrator and have them give you permissions.
I think starting there is a good place if you're not seeing something.
Yes, absolutely. You can't get it to work. It's usually permissions.
Yep. Okay. Another release for cash management is this reconciliation transaction template. So this is a template that you can create in order for the system to automatically create the journal entry for you. So we kind of use an example of like PayPal. If you always see PayPal come through on your bank rec, you want a certain journal entry to be created for that. You can set that using these templates. So
that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It cuts down on repetitive work for our teams.
Yes, always looking to do that. All right, construction. I love construction. All right, so what's new in construction is this project contracts. So of course, construction is required, the subscription, but we use project contract and its corresponding project contract lines to capture a mix of billable details in your construction project billing. So you see off on the left side, we have the progress bill, and then that's related to the main project. And then you have sub projects that roll up under the main project, and you can break it down by time and material on that sub project. It will use different billing types, and you can map your project cost codes to project contract lines. It will push out an invoice similar to the AIA invoice format, which I know will be exciting for some of the clients I had before. And then you can apply your rate tables and markups on this. And there's more to come in the next slide on project contracts. All right. Now they're integrating project contracts with change management. So when linked, the change request inherits changes to the project change order, such as price effective date or updates to the change request status. When you go to generate your invoices, project contract lines will reflect associated project changes to the total revised contract price. And when you're in change management, there's going to be different workflow types, such as original, revised, and approved change. And these all can be updated with the total revised price of the contract line. And then again, this requires additional permissions to be able to access this, as well as the construction subscription. All right, generating project invoices. So you can use the project contract line to bill by percent or by lump sum, or invoice for billable transactions. You can generate project invoices that include all invoice types as well. Again, it's going to resemble the AIA format, and then you can create a progress bill invoice template with project contract totals. Previously, it would only have been billed amounts and total retainage held. You'll see the image on the left side where we have our original contract amount. This is on the generate invoice screen. And you will also see now the revised contract amount. So you'll be able to capture that in this module. So pretty awesome.
That's awesome. All right, contracts. This is very exciting. This came from you. As you may know, if you put an idea in the community, we get to vote on our ideas. And this is one of the ideas that Intacct took and created for you. So you can evergreen contracts, manage contracts without end dates with the new evergreen term type. Choose to support only termed or only evergreen or both. So you're going to choose that as an organization, whether you want to, what you want to support. A contract can only be either termed or evergreen, not both. Contract line will show the scheduled billing and revenue for one in-progress period. When the recurring period ends, a new contract line with the same contract line number for the next recurring period is created. All right, here's another idea that came from you to auto apply adjustments. So when a contract line is canceled, automatically create and apply a cancellation adjustment to the contract line, contract invoices in scenarios where the invoice will never be paid. The payment posting dates for the adjustments are as follows. If the cancellation is before the invoice date, the payment date will be the invoice date. Cancellation date is after the invoice date, the payment date will be the cancellation date. Be very careful with this. You cannot uncancel a contract line that you canceled with an adjustment. So if you're not sure, you can still put in a negative contract line to clear out that information or that data. All right. Another thing they've done is they've renamed invoice policies. So this is just a renaming. It looks different. So we want to make sure we call it out to you. You can still generate invoice filter sets. Generate invoice filter sets are renamed to invoice policies. You can still save and reuse frequently used invoice filters. If you're not currently using saved filters, but want to take advantage of future invoice automation, AKA there's exciting things coming in the future here. Sage Intacct recommends that you prepare now by becoming familiar with invoice policies. So they must have something wonderful in the future for us here. Platform and customization services. This is an early adopter. Their application namespace. So they've added application namespaces when you create or edit custom applications, custom objects, or custom fields. It differentiates the custom objects and custom fields that you use in your application from Sage Intacct objects and from objects from other applications. You can find more about this at https://developer.intacct.com. And you want to contact your client manager if you're interested in being an early adopter. All right, order entry, purchasing, and inventory. Jenny.
Yes, so we have a polling question on this one. So Kim. All right. When using the cycle count feature, what are you not able to do? Assign the cycle count to an individual person, enable the system to create the entries to reconcile and update, add attachments to each individual item, or cycle count all items regardless of quantity on hand. Right.
Okay, I'll leave the poll open for just a few more seconds. And closing it down.
All right. So the third one is not possible, adding attachments to each individual items. Let's go through the cycle count or the inventory. Go ahead and go next. Okay, so with this release, you can now track stockable kits. So stockable kits can be tracked by serial number, lot number, bin, expiration date, or any combination. Includes the kit components that are enabled for tracking in both tracked and non-tracked kits. And then a new tab will be added. So you'll see posting details added to build kit and disassemble kit. This is really helpful instead of having to run a GL for every time you post an entry, you can just go to the entry and find the posting detail information. So go to the next one. All right, the cycle count enhancement. So all items are going to be available for cycle counts regardless of the quantity on hand. So previously you would only be able to count what has inventory on hand. Now you're going to see all items regardless if there's zero or a negative balance in your inventory. Then you can also assign dimension values when you're reconciling cycle counts. So you'll see required dimensions will have an asterisk added to it, right?
Jenny, that's really exciting with the cycle counts, because I know it's really hard if it's not on the list, what do you do with it?
Yeah. Yeah. What if you have to add something in that previously didn't have inventory? It wouldn't even show up. Yep. All right. Another release for the early adopters is this update to subtotals. So now at the entity level, if you have simple tax, you can distribute the subtotals for transactions that are created at the entity level to the line items in the transaction. Then also in a multi-entity environment, you can set dimension values for subtotals at the top level. Previously, it was only available to do that at the entity level. Again, if you're interested in becoming an early adopter, make sure to reach out to your client manager and let them know. All right, next slide. Okay, another early adopter release is some updates to the fulfillment process. So they enhance the experience for the warehouse team to utilize the tools to track and ship sales orders in a timely fashion. So you see off to the left, they're going to offer different steps of pick, pack, ship, then invoice. Intacct will reserve and allocate quantities so the quantities cannot be used elsewhere. So if something is in inventory, but it's picked or packed for a specific sales order, it's going to be a committed quantity, which will be nice. And then transaction for sales order is enabled for reserving and picking inventory items. Two fields will appear for line items in the entry section, which is quantity reserved and quantity picked or allocated. So this is really, really exciting if you have a really complicated sales process. All right.
All right, reporting. So in this release, Intacct is including inactive dimensions in reports. This is pretty exciting. So if you are a client, let's see, first let me go through it. Include inactive dimensions in report selection. It allows the filter prompt to show all values regardless of whether the dimension is or account is active or inactive. This means that both active and inactive options will appear in the drop-down selections. Now, this is a choice. I will show you how to do this. It's set up for you. It's for existing users. The value will remain hide inactive values unless you change it, the setting to display all values. And for new users, the default is display all values. This is user preference, as I said. So let's go see where you change that. All right. So if I go up to my user and I go to my preferences, you'll scroll down and there, oh, I lied. It's not, it is not, oh, it's, I'm sorry, it's a company. I made a mistake. Okay. So, oh no, I'm right. Okay, so go down here. Okay, I'm having a hard time here.
Michelle, right where you're at. Just
Yeah.
no, it's a little further down, I think. Display, it was right after this section. Keep going, keep going. Yeah, keep going. Right here. Display all values.
There it is.
Hide.
Thank you, Jenny. Okay. See, it's so confusing sometimes. All right. So you can, you can choose to display all values or hide inactive values. So what I want to show you is what it looks like before I do this. So I've got hide inactive values was my setting. So if I go into reports and I go into report center and I go to my favorited reports. For those of you who don't know this, I can, if I click on the star, I show it in my favorited reports. And if I go to run this favorited report and I go to locations, you'll see that I have, I lied, I go to class, I have 4 classes. Now, if I go back to my settings, which of course have disappeared now, really. All right, go back to my preferences and find show. Oops. And I do display all values and I hit save. If I go back to reports and I go back to favorited reports, and I once again fire that report. Now, if I go to classes, you'll see that I have all of the inactives also showing. So that's really good. I have a lot of clients who have to inactivate grants a lot so that people don't post to it, but they still want to be able to pull reports. Now you can have it available at your fingertips, which is great. Let's go back to our, all right, tax. So tax, they've made some nice changes in tax this year for this release. You can capture, and this is all related to reporting for the most part. You can capture tax information for custom reports. So you can access, they've enabled accessing all VAT and CST transaction detail in general ledger, AP, AR, purchase order, order entry, cash management, and employee expenses. You can drill down on transaction screens and it supports custom fields. So here's an image of a custom report that shows the transactions from both accounts, from accounts payable, purchasing, and accounts receivable. You'll see it shows the blue items are drill downable, drilling back down to the transactions of this tax report. They've enhanced reporting for the tax submissions. So in the VAT and GST tax submissions, there are different boxes. So there's now a reporting object called tax record box. You can group transactions by box number in a custom report, and you can drill down to the transactions to view the details. Again, here's an example of a report where you see here under subtotal on the left-hand side, 1C and 1D are the box numbers, and it shows the transactions that are reporting in those box numbers. And there's default tax details for transactions. You can select, this previously was available in order entry and purchasing, but it was not available in accounts payable and accounts receivable. So you select the tax schedule for a customer or event, vendor contact. The tax details will automatically default when a transaction line is created, and you can override the default. So this is available and will work in accounts payable bills, recurring bills, payment adjustments, manual payments, as well as in accounts receivable in invoices, recurring invoices, payment adjustments, and manual deposits.
Okay. Yep, user experience. So some big changes here. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay, so you're going to notice the logo has changed for Intacct, and also the there's an option for black or white for the header colors, which can be set in your preferences, which you prefer. But it is a big change, I would say.
You want me to show that?
Sure, please.
Okay, we've got a little bit of time. All right, so let's see if I cannot blunder this one. Let's go back here. I'm going to go to first thing. There's 2 ways you can set it. So you're going to set the default at company, and this will be by an administrator has to do this. So you can go to company, admin,
Setup.
sorry, thank you, company. And then I have to edit it. And if I do a Control F, I don't know if you saw me do that earlier, but those of you who don't know, you can use your Control F and find things very quickly. This was preset to white. I'm going to preset this to black, and I'm going to save it. And if I refresh, you'll notice my header is now black. You as a user can go to my preferences and find white.
Might just be
Only the
overall.
header. I thought I just saw it a second ago. So okay, I'm wrong.
Yeah, maybe
It was
look for header. I think it was under header. No, I
Oh.
think that's just a company setting, but
okay.
there's not many options there, but it kind of looks fun.
It feels like the old UI where you could actually change the header color to any color you wanted. So maybe that will come in the future.
Hmm.
All right.
You'll
Next.
notice the login too will be different for your company. It's going to look quite a bit different than before. Okay, so next one. All right, so coming soon, this is an expanded beta testing. So in the last release that was in beta testing, now they've taken a little bit more time for this. So in the list, the custom list view, there's going to be advanced filtering. You'll have the ability to reorder, resize, and freeze columns with the drag and drop interactions, which I'm really excited about. This is going to be really cool. You won't need to go to another screen to customize your list view, so you can do it all within that one view. And then you can also do split screen between the list views and the records. It's a huge change, I think, for a lot of the screens. It's probably why it's in beta testing for a little bit longer, but hopefully this will be released next quarter. I don't know. We'll see.
Cool.
This will be awesome.
Do we have any questions?
Looks like there's something that Jessica is responding to right now.
Okay.
Oh, we have 2 hands raised.
Okay.
All right. Kim, do you have to give access to be able to let them respond?
Yeah, it looks like Daria, did you want to ask a question? I can.
Will new changes affect the SDK at all?
Hi.
Oh, I think Daria has a question for you, Michelle and Jenny.
Okay.
What you were just going over, the user preferences,
Yes.
my screens don't look anything like that, and I'm an admin on our program. Does that mean we don't have these updates available to us yet?
It might be. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for it to be actually released out to everyone.
So you're saying that if you go, you don't have this, it doesn't look like this right now. It doesn't have this new font and everything?
I'm not sure what you
Right
mean by
here.
font, but when I go in to mine, nothing looks like it's any different, and I don't have anything under company that has preferences for it. Nothing. So I've got the new logo, so does this just roll out at different times and we just need to keep looking?
I don't know, and we can get back to you on that.
No, it should. You're an admin business user?
Yes.
Okay. That is interesting.
So if you go into company and edit, you don't have this header background color.
Company and edit?
Yes.
I go into company, I have all set up in admin.
Change it to edit and not just view on company. See if it appears then.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean. When I hit company, edit is not something that I see. I see the all set up in admin.
So there's company, so you see the application is company, but under configuration, there's also company.
So
Right?
you don't see that?
Oh, I see. I must have been in the wrong place then. That's where you are. Thank you for that.
That's okay. We've all been there. Trust me.
Awesome.
As I showed today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daria.
Can you show how to put journal entries in draft until it's cleared in the bank? So I will try to go into a cash management. Actually, we don't have bank feed set up on this, unfortunately.
Mm-mm.
But when you go into cash management and you reconcile your bank, and I select a bank account to reconcile, and I leave it the way it is. If you go up to more actions and you've got create journal entry, it will create a draft journal entry. So this is you submit it or you draft it.
That works.
Yep, that works. Okay. Do we have any other questions? I'm trying to double check. Can we use only new contracts from scratch? For project contracts, can we use that only on new contracts from scratch? In other words, do you know, Jenny, if this is retroactive on existing contracts? All of the changes we've been talking about?
For project contracts.
How difficult is to start using project contracts? So John, we're going to have to reach out to you on that.
Yeah, I'll find out, John. I'm not exactly positive. I will let you know.
All right, so someone's asking to see the accounts receivable payment write-off. So let's go in here. And now because I'm not prepared, I have to give a second. Let me go see what I've got available. So, okay, so I'm US holding is $999. So let me go into the entity so I don't mess myself up here. And I go to accounts receivable and I receive payments new. And I select US. Oops, I add. And I'm going to go to undeposited funds. And my customer is US Holdings customer. And why are the invoices not showing, Jenny? What am I doing wrong?
Select invoices on the right side, bottom right.
Oh. Okay. So I'm going to say that I received this one. And I add, correct?
You do add and close.
I shouldn't select. All right, so, oops. Let's try that one more time. Select invoices, select this one, add and close. And my payment amount is $1,000, right? Oops. No, sorry.
Let's do like 998 or something. And then you'd have 1 penny. Or $1, sorry. And then post it.
Do you at this point add the journal entry?
I think it would probably be afterwards, but apply the amount because it's showing it as a overpayment and not applying it to the bill. So try apply credits and see if that helps to apply it. Go in the payment amount box and put in 998 there on the right there. There you go. Now it took it away. So now we have an outstanding balance of $1. So try to create an adjustment and write it off to like bad debt or something. Okay, and then
There's my, no.
nope, where's the credit now? So we might have to go back into select invoices since we're in this screen and see if that adjustment
Nope,
is there. Where did the adjustment go?
I don't know. See, this is why we don't do this live.
Okay, so duplicate your tab at the top and see if it even created the adjustment. Yeah. And we'll get back to the presentation after this, I think. Okay,
Oops.
go back to adjustments.
I was trying to go into adjustments. It just, there we go.
Yeah, I didn't even create it. Were you at the entity level? There it is, $1 posted. Is there approvals or anything on there? There should be, not on it.
So now that it's approved, it should be submitted.
Yeah, it's posted. Maybe go out of here.
Refresh.
Maybe
Well, that's just silly.
Yeah, it should be available to
Show it.
apply it as a credit. Maybe cancel out of here.
Okay. But then,
You might have to start over.
all right, we're
But
going to not do that right now because we don't know what we're doing. We haven't tested it, and so we're not going to do that. So
Okay, so let's get back to the presentation. and
back to you,
We'll
exactly.
come back to that. Okay. All right, so go to the next slide. So we have a polling question here. Kim, this is for you. All right, integrating your CRM and ERP solution is helping streamline processes and connect teams. Please select which scenario best describes you. So our organization currently uses Salesforce, I think, but it is not integrated. Our organization currently uses a CRM solution besides Salesforce, I think. Our organization currently uses Salesforce and it is integrated, or our organization does not use a CRM
That is not connected to our.
Okay, we just got everybody answered. So, and just to go over it, the first one is they use it, but it is not connected to Sage Intacct. The second one is using a different solution besides CRM, and it is not connected, or are using Salesforce and it's connected, or do not use CRM today. So I'll go ahead and end the poll and share results.
Okay.
Great.
All right.
Web services. So there are several enhancements made to the API, which includes the Dunning level definitions, project contracts, then you have contracts, some of what Michelle was talking about before, the data delivery service, and the ability to select filters. You have journal entry transactions within the GL, some API support for inventory cycle counts, and stockable kit tracking, and then you have tax schedules, setting default tax solutions and tax schedules for contracts, vendors, and customers in the listed currencies. And then for more information, there's the Developer Intacct website to check out.
And Jenny, just for our audience's benefit, API is how Intacct speaks to other products, which is where the basis of that polling question came from, is the fact that there is an out-of-the-box connection between Sage Intacct and Salesforce. And if it is not robust enough, you can reach out to a developer, and we also have created a connector for that that is more robust, so that your subsystems, such as Salesforce, when you transact in Salesforce, it just flows into Intacct seamlessly instead of having to manually upload information. All right, and finally.
All right, so just for all of those interested in learning more about Intacct, we do have the Armanino Academy. So there'll be a link here, so check that out when you are interested in looking more into that.
I will say that if you are learning about your report writing, there are 3 great report writing classes on that academy. And it's also really good if you've got new people coming in and wanting to learn about accounts payable or just the general navigation of Intacct. Do we have any other questions? Because we are just about at the end of our presentation.
It looked like we had a question again from Daria. Does Sage run on a Salesforce instance?
Does Sage run on a Salesforce instance? Sage, I don't know the answer to that question. I know that Sage Intacct connects to Salesforce, and I know that it does leverage Salesforce's Collaborate, but I don't know if it's on Salesforce. That is not, that's above my pay grade.
I think that's part of the integration discussion that you would have, where you want to integrate to and all of that. So it depends on your setup with Salesforce.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, I can give everybody back 8 minutes in their day. We really appreciate your time on this, and hopefully you will get a benefit out of some of these new releases, these new release items. Thank you very much.
Great. Michelle and Jennifer, thank you so much. If anybody has any additional questions that we didn't get to, we will reach out to you personally, but you can also send any more to our experts at armaninolp.com. And was asked if the presentation will be shared. We do send out this presentation via email 72 hours after this event takes place. So you will see it coming in your email. We also post it on our website as well. So thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.